Good morning. I'm Sheila.
I'm Jacqueline.
And we are with Blue Nest Home. And Blue Nest Home is based in Silverdale, Washington. And we service most of Kitsap County and surrounding areas. We do regular cleaning as well as move-out cleans. But our superpower is in estate clearouts and doing online estate sales. And we can take a pretty much hoarded home that somebody has lived in for 30 plus years and have it cleaned out and ready to go on the market or be turned over to your real estate agent in 24 days.
Yep.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So we're doing these weekly podcasts because we have a lot to say.
Yes, a lot.
We have a lot of opinions on organizing and decluttering and estate sales and all of that stuff. And so we're just going to do these free form things, and you are welcome to put comments down below, ask us questions. We will use them in upcoming podcasts and answer those. But until we get rocking and rolling on that, it's just
Let's go.
our thought process.
We've learned a lot this last year.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two things on my mind.
Oh, good.
So you get to pick. What do you want to talk about today? Because we're also setting a goal to try to keep these under around 20, 30 minutes.
We need a deadline.
Because we've been known we can go on for hours.
Yeah.
So one is either talking about this book, which we both like.
Yeah.
Decluttering at the Speed of Life by Dana K. White.
Okay.
Or talk about the photo that I accidentally sent you. And my own decluttering process.
Let's go with the photo, because that was really decent. I do love the book, though, too, and highly recommend, but
Okay, maybe I can pull up the photo.
I know, I was just going to say.
Or, you know what, I'll send it to Brielle, who does our editing, and I'll have her insert the photo somewhere here. Okay. So Jacqueline was getting ready to go work with a client that I had done a walkthrough on, and a lot of times I take photos because it just kind of helps me remember. If I have to do an estimate for them, it jogs my memory of what's going on.
Or if you have to pass the space on to someone else.
Yeah, and then in this circumstance, I thought Jacqueline was the best person for the job, and so I was passing it on to her and sharing the photos with her, so she kind of had an idea of what she was going into and kind of start, kind of thinking through her head how the job will go. And so I don't know, how many photos did I probably 10, 12 maybe.
Yeah, it was a good amount. Well, we needed them.
And it was late at night, and so she'd asked me earlier in the day, do you have the photos? And I said, yeah. And so I went to bed and I was like, I forgot to send Jacqueline the photos. So I sent her the photos, and as I was scrolling through to make sure that they all sent, I noticed that I sent a photo of myself in distraught. And the photo was me in my middle son's room. So I have...
The face. It's like...
My husband and I have 6 kids between us. He has 3 from his first marriage, and I have 3 from my first marriage. And his are very spaced apart, like 30, mid-20s, and late teens. And then our 2 youngest are a week apart in age. They're both 17, turning 18
I didn't know that.
this year. Yeah. And then my middle son is 19.
Is 19? Okay.
Yeah, 19. I had to think.
I had to think.
And then my oldest son is turning 21 this year. So I had 3 in 3 years. And so my 21-year-old, or soon-to-be 21-year-old, he moved out in January, and he's flourishing. He's fully launched. He's got a job. He's on a career path. Doing good. That didn't really bother me too much. Like, he talks to me a lot, and we talk through the process, and
it seems like it's been a good adjustment.
Yeah, it was a really good adjustment. It was time. My middle son is my tough nut to crack. He always has been, and probably, if I had to be honest, he's probably the one most like me. Especially when I was younger, I internalized a lot, and I didn't talk things out a lot. I talked it through in my own head. We're our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And he's like that. He's really hard to get to talk about things. But deep down I know he's very sensitive and stuff. Caring. And so his launch into adulthood has been more difficult.
Yeah.
And although I knew that it was time for him to move out. It's still, and I found that when they move out, like, you just start replaying everything you've ever done as a parent. Like, I should have done this, I could have done this, or I did this well, maybe I should have done more of that, kind of thing. And so he moved out, and he said, Mom, I don't want anything in my room. And I double checked like twice with him.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. And he did, and he left it pretty organized, but I was going in there because he had our house is weird, and it's a rambler with a basement. And the boys took over the downstairs part, and the rooms are very large.
Yeah.
They're...
I was going to say, you're always saying they're kind of always fighting because they want the bigger rooms downstairs.
Yeah, they're all big. And they fight over who gets the biggest one. But seriously, 2 of the bedrooms down there, you could probably fit...
Like a living room?
Well, you could fit 2 or 3 queen beds in one of their bedrooms.
Wow.
They're huge.
Oh, wow. That's almost
It's ridiculous.
That's like my apartment.
Yeah, in fact, he moved. My middle son moved out to a studio apartment, and I'm pretty sure his room is bigger.
Bigger than that. Yeah. I would think so, yeah.
And he also has a walk-in closet in his room, as well as as a triple, like, regular closet.
Wow.
In there. And if you hear somebody grumbling, it's Sophie. Come here, Sophie.
It's our mascot.
Come here.
She wants a treat.
Yeah, I didn't feed her because I was hurrying. This is Sophie. She comes to work every day.
Yes.
So anyway, his room is huge, and my stepdaughter, who is with us almost half time, she wanted a big room because, in all honesty, her room was small. It's upstairs and it's small. So Alex said he didn't want anything, so I was cleaning out his room, and I was having all these feelings, and so I took a photo. And of course, it's on a weekend, and I'm not dressed or anything, so my hair is like a disaster.
Were you in a hoodie or something?
Maybe.
I feel like
know.
I was like, oh, it's not. Like, I always see Sheila dressed up for work, and I was
not. It was probably pajamas.
Yeah, pajamas.
And I was taking it because I'm in a Facebook group where we share stuff like that, and it's a closed Facebook group.
Yeah, but it helps you guys stay accountable.
Yeah. And so in the background is the disaster that I was dealing with because I was sorting through stuff, and I found some notes and stuff, and it just, like, I don't know, got me all in the feels.
I was gonna say, got the emotions flowing for sure.
Yeah. And so so it made me think about the whole decluttering process, though, and what we do. And I think like, he had taken what was important to him, and then he had left everything else. And I did keep a few things.
Yeah.
That I
was wondering about that.
That I just was like, maybe, I don't know. And I have a quarantine area.
Yep. Yeah.
In my home. A quarantine area means that if there's something you want to declutter, but you're not 100% sure if you want to get rid of it, you put it in one area of your home until you make a decision on it. Right. But you have to be selective what you put in there. And so I basically kept like a shoebox.
Oh, wow.
Of stuff. I mean, it's small. It's not a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but something you like, like, maybe he will want to reread this, or like, revisit it. Because sometimes in the moment you're just like, and then you're like, oh, I wouldn't have minded looking through that one more time or something.
Yeah. And so I did keep a few things, but I got rid of the rest. We donate a lot of stuff. There's some garbage, and then there's some really nice clothes. And so I did consign those clothes, and we do consignment sales here in the office.
That's been really nice.
And so I brought some of those stuff in there too, and I'm hoping if I make some money, I'll be able to, like, give him.
I was just thinking, how nice would that be? He'd be like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'll send it to him, and he'll be like, thanks. But, who doesn't like money?
I know, right? This was just from your leftover room too, I'm thinking too, that's what you're saying too, the size of the room, there could be a decent amount. Like you said, I'm not surprised now that you're saying emotions came up. Because it wasn't like a quick little room, 15 minutes. It sounds like there was a lot of space, a closet, layers of, different kind of things that could bring up emotions. And from one bedroom. So
one bedroom.
That could happen. Gosh, I mean, we've seen it happen in places you wouldn't think, like a garage with just old tools and gardens. Emotions come up.
And so one of the things that I have learned this from a lot of my clients who deal with anxiety, and so anxiety is really fear.
Right.
It's the fear of the unknown. And when you're in the middle of anxiety, your brain is telling you this is what you're going to feel all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this becomes your new reality.
Yeah.
Right? You're a mess.
Yeah.
You're a disaster. You're questioning every parenting technique
As
you've ever done.
I'm kind of thinking, I can kind of see where you went down to. I'm like, oh, I can see where she went. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that moment when I took the photo, what I was doing is I wanted to share it with that private group that I'm on to talk about it's okay to have that feeling.
Right.
And to know that it is going to pass.
Yeah. Right.
And so so I just kind of felt it and felt sad for the day and collected it. And then actually my younger son came in and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I'm just sad." Gosh. And he like snapped me back into reality. He goes, "Mom, that's, it's not just you. This is," and we had, I don't want to share here, but we had a conversation about some of this stuff. And he was like, "It's good. You're fine.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't screw up the last 19 years.
I know. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's like you just need to hear it and you know it and it's there. But
But just like owning it and realizing this is a big step. Like when my first son moved out, the house didn't seem that much bigger.
Right.
It seemed a lot cleaner because he's kind of the one that leaves a tornado behind him. But when the second one moved out, it was like all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah.
Our house went from feeling very full to very empty, and we still have.
Yeah.
I say 1.5 at home because we have my youngest son and then my stepdaughter who's with us half time.
Yeah.
So it's a transition.
Yeah, I was thinking too, I've had a couple clients, sometimes it's hard for them to pinpoint what the emotions are, and sometimes I'm just like, just cry those tears. Even if you don't know what it is for, just get it out.
Yeah.
And it seems awful and it seems hard. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm crying over decluttering. But it feels really good, and like we promise you, the next steps get better and better.
It gets better.
But it is normal. We've seen it happen a lot. Tears, even anger, and memories from like
and you know what else I realized is, and we talk about this a lot with clients, but when you're doing it in your own stuff and you're dealing with your own emotions, it's really hard. I was like, I went in there like, I'm going to get this done today.
Oh, right.
I am going to empty this room and get it done.
Because that's what we do at work. So yeah.
But what do we tell clients? Like, we try to keep the time frame 3-4 hours at a max, right? Because it's a lot of decisions.
Draining.
And I say it's like decision fatigue. And by the end of 3 or 4 hours, no matter how much you like your organizer you're working with, you're kind of like, I'm ready for you to leave my home.
Yeah. You're mentally tired.
And
physically.
to deal with all those emotions, right?
Yeah.
And so I had my pile sorted. I had consignment, donation, throwaway, and keep.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, I am tired.
Yeah.
And then I had that moment of, but I said I was going to finish it today. Then I just like, you know what, I'm not.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's okay,
It's a lot. And so looking back now, I can realize that I was able to recognize that I was processing a lot. I was having a lot of anxiety, and I needed to walk away from it.
Yeah. We've noticed that too. Recently, we've had a lot of clients come and they were ready to go. We want to do a full package, and we're starting to break them up into smaller. We'll do 2 hours, something like that, because it's just, I think people are already emotional after this past year. And going through stuff, it's like, it's hard. It's
a lot. Yeah, right.
Even for us, there's times I brought stuff to the consignment for last month and I was like, still, but it worked out really good.
Yeah. So I walked away from it, and I actually didn't go back to it for several days because I think I was working on it on a Sunday, and then
like a lot.
The work week was hard and everything, and then I went back to it last weekend, and it was weird because at the time that I walked away from it, I thought, oh my God, I didn't make progress. Have all this stuff still in there, and when I went back in there, it wasn't that much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're like, oh, I can wrap this up actually.
I was like, oh, it's it's a couple trips up to the car.
Yeah.
And everything.
Right.
And
it sounds like you already went through, like, it seems like, yeah, the emotions probably lasted a long time. And it was hard, so you probably thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk back into this and we're going to have that all over again.
Yeah, and it was less.
Taking that break, yeah.
It was less than, it didn't stir up all of the emotions that I had when I was physically going through it.
The first beginning of it, yeah.
And so I think, we always jump into this not really knowing what maybe the takeaway is. But I think the takeaway is that it's okay to have those feelings and to just sit with them and understand, kind of think about where is this coming from.
Right. And it can come out of nowhere too.
Yeah. Hit you like a freight train.
Yeah. So you need to take a break and process.
And that it's okay. And you're not going to feel that way forever.
Yeah. It'll pass.
And everybody has those feelings.
Really. And it, like even you said, it can go pretty deep. It can, but
yeah. And then take a break, step away from it, and then go back in, and you may have to, if you have a big project, you may have to chunk it up. Break it up and stuff. But I think each time you go back to it, you go back with a little clearer vision. Yeah. And it's not as hard. Yeah. And so if you do go back and it is hard, that's okay too. Yeah. It's just part of the process. So the takeaway is just feel the feelings, step away if you need to, break it up into smaller chunks and accomplish it. Yeah. And I think, it's like you said, the takeaway, knowing that the emotions can be very, very hard in this process, but once you accomplish it, it'll be a really freeing, peaceful, like you're probably, at this point, are you glad you got through it and went through, so. Yeah, now we're into a new project because my stepdaughter has part of her stuff in that room and part of her stuff in the other room, and then we're shimmying rooms around. So you're not, okay. So it's not perfect. But I actually love that. That's like a project and a fun thing. Yeah, and you have the action and going on in the house again. Yeah, but knowing that piece is done. And taken care of. And you went through the emotions for that too. Not just ignoring it, because I think we've seen that build up too, and then it becomes like an explosion. And then the project really takes a long time. Yeah. And then, so I took care of this like 2 weeks after he moved out. And I know we've had clients that take care of it like 30 years after they move out. That's okay too. Whenever, I encourage you to do it sooner. But if it's been 30 years and you still haven't done it, it's okay to start now. It's never too late. We'll help you through it. So I guess that's it for this week. Yeah. And then that was good. I'm glad we went that direction, because we've been seeing a lot of emotion now. Because I think people are starting to come out of the fog of COVID. Yeah. So leave your questions and comments down below, and we'll be happy to answer them. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye. Bye.